Good afternoon, everyone. In today's video, we're going to do a deeper dive into the charts of NVIDIA. NVIDIA is something that appeared on our new Slingshot Squeeze scan. And so as a result of that, we'll take a look at not only all three of these scan candidates, but we'll also use the backtester here to get a pretty quick gauge of whether or not this strategy is successful on this particular ticker. For all of our Volatility Box members, the indicator is going to be module 10 of the squeeze course. The scan is going to be module 11 of the squeeze course, and then the backtester is going to be module 12 of the squeeze course, all three of which are going to be released this weekend, and you should have available for you to download and start to play around with. All right, so starting off here first with the chart of VERX, the first one on our scan. I have the daily time frame here going back 5 years, and I have the scan checking for just anything that's triggered off of the daily. Anytime that's happened, you'll see there's a yellow arrow that currently means that we have the slingshot squeeze. And if you come down here and take a look at the actual squeeze, you'll notice that that's where you have what looks like a squeeze that may ultimately fire long. And so that's the whole premise of the slingshot squeeze. Now, looking at VERX, we don't have enough data. We see only just this one trade, so I'm going to skip that. Come down to NMIH, zoom out, take a look at the backtester here. And then so far, we see the P&L is 720. Let's go ahead and change one of the settings that we have, which is the type of exit that it takes. So currently it's configured to no squeeze. Let's change that to something like, say, losing momentum. And for all of our Volatility Box members, again, this is defined in the actual tutorial, so it should make a lot more sense. So let's click OK here. And if we see that, that's only 432. So far, you see, if you were interested in something like NMIH, the entry condition has triggered today. You see that very easily in the label right up here. The bullish conditions met. And off of just the bullish trades here, I have the shorts currently turned off. If we come in and take a look at the auto-generated report, you'll see that 6 of the 7 trades were winners. One trade was a net break even. And outside of that, 7 trades, 719, and a ticker that's fairly affordable. So that's one interesting trade. Now let's move on to NVIDIA here. And NVIDIA is the one that I think makes for a fairly interesting discussion. So over the past 5 years, if I right click and again look at the same thing as show report, you'll notice the P&L. Of course, the P&L looks much larger. This is based off of 100 shares. But the thing that I thought was interesting here is this signal on NVIDIA over the past 5 years. You've had trigger 8 times, at least bullishly, and 7 of those 8 have been winners, with this guy right here being a loser. So that's February 2018 going all the way to April 2018. So that was the one time that you've had this loser. One quick thing that we can check before we dive a little bit deeper is if we change this from no squeeze to losing momentum, does this 8385 become higher or lower? And in this case, it becomes lower. And so, a very quick gauge is the idea of no squeeze to be a better exit type. Now, if we come in and take a look at NVIDIA here and take a look at the actual setup, we'll use our Fibonacci swing high to swing low, and that's where the 1272 currently takes us to 620.78. And if we take a look at the squeeze, I think the real exit condition here would be either A, if we hit 620.78 and be looking for the squeeze to take us there, or C, if the squeeze actually fires and you have a day in which, say, price action actually hits the upper end of our volatility box, then I think that would make for a slightly smarter target and capitalizing on the day's gains. And if you are a stock volatility box member, remember you can just create an alert for that now and be notified anytime NVIDIA gives you an opportunity to take profits at, say, either an aggressive short or a conservative short level. And in terms of crafting trade ideas here, I think the easiest and cleanest way is still to use the underlying equity. But if you did want to use options, let's come into the trade tab and take a look. So if we first start off with the IV percentile, that's at 16. So being a buyer makes a little bit more sense just right off the bat. Now, if we take a look at what the previous moves have looked like, so if I right click and do show report, the first time we had a move of right around, 22 bucks, which at the time the stock was trading at 250. So 22 on 250 is right around 8-ish%, 8.8%. So let's round that up to a 9% move. And then the second time around, we saw we had a move from 550 or 521 to 553, which is a max total move of 32 bucks when the stock was at 521.40. And so if we take a look at what that percentage looks like, that's about 6. So anywhere between 6 to 9% is what the previous two moves have been. And so if we use 542.33 and we take a look at what 6% of that is, we're looking for a min move of right around 32 bucks, 32, 33 bucks. And if we project that from where we're currently at, just using the trend line tool, that takes us to a little bit past that 786 retracement. near where we had that previous resistance. It'd be very interesting to see if this squeeze signals indicator can actually take us above this break and ultimately still be looking for that 620 target. But outside of that, I think we could also use the 786 along the way for a potential target zone. And so first off, again, using equity is the most easiest way I think to try and do this. But if we came into the options tab here, 32 bucks takes us to right around that December option series. And if we project 32 bucks up from where we're currently at, 542 plus 32 is 574. 574 breaks above even this 562. And so if we take a look at what the closest option series is to that, that's the 575s. And if we try and build a trade here around the 575, so a vertical 575, 580, currently going for 93 cents. So I think that's a very interesting lottery type of approach to try and use this indicator as a way to enter this trade and be risking the entire full 93 bucks in this case, if you can get that fill. Looking to try and make, if I come into the Analyze tab here and we just put that trade in, that's where you're risking 93 to try and make 407. I have also priced out the 565, 65 here, which if we take a look at that, that's currently going for $1.50. That's where you'd be risking 150 to try and make 350. And it's of course a little bit more expensive, but your odds here also, you're looking at the 560, 565 compared to the 575. Now one other little trade that we can try and craft as well is if we come in, buy butterfly here, and then let's skew this butterfly to have no upside risk. So maybe make this something like 565. That's currently going for $1.35. And if we analyze what that looks like, that's where your max risk is 135. Max potential gain is 365 if you overshoot really that 574-ish price tag. 574 takes us to fairly close to the previous three places of resistance. So I think it would make a lot of sense if this third touch, we saw a break above it. And so this might be another interesting trade as well. It's this broken wing butterfly where we go 565, 575, 580, risking 135 to try and see if you can get that perfect pin. All right, so for all of our Volatility Box members, keep a lookout for the next 3 modules, which will be coming out this weekend. If you have any questions, again, feel free to email us. Otherwise, hope you enjoy this tool and have a great weekend. Take care, everyone.